Hi guys, it's Shannon and Ryan here from Adeptus Group. Today we thought we would both jump on together and just cover some of the questions that we are seeing quite a lot. Obviously at the minute there's a lot of job seekers out there that are looking for new jobs, or companies that are looking for some candidates, and we get asked these questions a lot. Ryan does, obviously, and we thought we would shortlist the top 5 questions and answer them for you today, in hope that it can help you if you're a job seeker or a client looking for some candidates. So I'll ask you a question, Ryan. You can answer them. It's like very quick. So the first question is, how long should a CV be?
Okay, so a CV, it depends on your experience, first of all, and it depends on the role that you're applying to. The first thing that I would say with the CV is typically you want it to be 2 or 3 pages. And if you're thinking about how do I do that, because I've been in the industry for 15, 20 years, I can tell you now that the developer job that you did back in 1995, if you're applying for a CISO role, isn't going to add that much weight. So it always gets me when people have 7, 8, 9 page CVs and they're detailing in bulk about a role that they held 15 years ago. I would try and vast majority of the bulk in the last 3 roles, and then bullet point fashion the other roles just to make it as tidy as possible. Because as a recruiter and speaking to other recruiters and hiring people out there, that's what they look for, the last 3 jobs typically.
Perfect. Okay, so the next question was, what is the best interview process to engage candidates and keep them interested?
I think it's how you start, because first impressions are always important. So yes, I get there is, with a lot of technical roles out there, the need to assess someone's technical ability before engaging them in a process. However, if you've got a really good candidate, you need to be able to flex around that. I think without a shadow of a doubt, that one-to-one informal conversation for me, be it over telephone, be it over Skype or whatever, it really does help engage a candidate. First of all, because it helps you assess their cultural fit, some of the baseline technical skills that they have, and also it gives them, most importantly, the time to answer questions and ask you questions that they really want to know. You'll find that that helps a lot with engagement later on down the line, and that they'll be more willing to do the grueling technical assessments that you want them to do as well.
Yeah, I feel like also it's quite important to be mindful of candidates' time. So sometimes we see these processes that have got like 5 or 6 interviews, and it's obvious that the client hasn't really thought about the fact that the candidate would have to take 5 different days off their current job to go to these interviews, or they're arranging interviews for 9 p.m. expecting them to be readily available. And it doesn't mean that the candidate isn't interested if they're not making themselves available for 9 p.m. or for 5 different interviews. It's just sometimes it's really not possible. People have families and and commitment. So I think be mindful of that. And also I think it's really important, and it's something that we've started to incorporate within our internal recruitment at Adeptus, but I think it's really important to involve your staff in the interview process, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the people that are working with this potential candidate. And I think they're the sort of the heart of your business. So I think for the candidate to understand what your business is about, and for the your current team to understand this new candidate's potential, I think there should definitely be a meeting between those, just to to see what the vibe is between them. And I think staff sometimes look for different things that directors do, so I think as a collective it's really important to get that in.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question. How do you write an engaging job advert?
Good question. So first of all, I think with job adverts, one thing that I've seen a lot of recently is very long ones when they don't need to be. And what I mean by that is fundamentally, when you think about job adverts, the first thing you see isn't necessarily about the role, it's about the business. And for me personally, and my personal opinion on this, is most of that is irrelevant information, because if you're looking at a business and you're looking at a role, naturally the first thing that you do is go onto their website or go and find out more information. So you can go and look on that in the background before applying to the role.
On that as well.
Exactly. So I think having paragraph after paragraph after paragraph explaining what your business is and why they should join you. Keep it as brief as possible. Don't give them no information, but at the same time, don't feel that it should turn into a four-page long explanation. That would be my first thing. I think from actually what you should put in there. the requirements of the role. And I think from a candidate perspective, and speaking to candidates who are quite good for roles but don't apply to roles, the reason and the justification around that is more of a mindset thing. And you've got to bear in mind that when they go through the requirements in a role, if you have 50 to 100 requirements, they're doing a checkbox exercise in their mind of, can I do that? Can I do that? Have I done that in the past? And if the answer to those questions is 80% or less, the likelihood is they're not going to click the apply button just because they don't feel confident enough to put themselves forward. So make sure you make it clear in these scenarios what is actually required for the role and non-negotiable, and what is more of a desirable. It doesn't make it any less of a weak job advert to do that. In fact, what you'll find is you get more candidates putting themselves forward who may be better suited in some cases.
Yeah, that's also been brought up a lot in the skills gap in cyber. They did a study in around the fact that women will only apply if they feel like they match 100% of the requirements, where men will apply if they feel that they match 60. So that's quite interesting that you say that. And I suppose if you're a company that needs to work on their diversity and things, I think that's definitely something you should look at in the job description on the advert. I think also for me, from a marketing point of view, is the job title that you put out there. I think you need to think about what the person you desire, what they would be searching in Google or in LinkedIn. You need to think about that and try not to make your job title sound too niche, because I know a lot of companies come up with these amazing job titles with these new buzzwords, but really, are they going to be typing that into Google to find that? And I think you just need to think about the SEO side of things and what candidates will be looking for. So just a simple job title would suffice, really. Okay, the next question was, what should you include in a cover sheet?
So first of all, it depends on the role. I think where possible, don't have one cover sheet for every role that you apply to. First of all, because for 85% of the roles that you apply to, it may just give a little bit of information, but the bulk of what the business wants to know about you won't be in there, because you've done it in such a way that makes it appealing to everybody. But what you end up doing, is becoming everyone's cup of tea rather than anyone's shot of whiskey. So I think tailoring it is an absolute must within this. And when I say tailoring it, look at their job description, look at them as a business, give more than just I can do that. And what I mean by that is, if you can, obviously we live in a world where it's very difficult sometimes, depending on projects, to give exact details. So I say, where possible, give examples, show them in that cover sheet where you have done that, when it was, how you went about doing it, so they have that confidence that you have the ability to do it, you've delivered it before, and coming into a role where that is demanded of you, again, wouldn't be too much of a challenge.
Yeah, I think also with the covering letter, that's a chance to get your personality across as well, and
Absolutely.
how your personality relates to the company culture and everything. So something that I would, always do is look at the company values and see how that fits in with your own values and your own personality, and look at that, because I think obviously a CV is very formal and it's just got all these sort of dates and things that you've done, but I think the covering letter is just a perfect opportunity for that first foot in the door, but for them to understand your personality a little bit more than just your job roles in the past and things like that.
Absolutely. And I think just adding on to that, covering sheets do work. I think if you want to catch the attention of your reader, and really give them an insight to why you're applying to the role, and show them that you are passionate about the space, you can give them that insight towards who you are as an individual. It makes it so much more relevant, and it definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, helps you stand out from the crowd.
Yep, perfect. Okay, well, that was some of the questions. If anybody's got any more that they want us to answer, we could always jump on again. So just leave your comment in the box below and we can maybe answer those next week. But for now, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Shannon.